today we're going to be talking about an absolute classic from 2001, and we've got Jeepers Creepers.
Yes, I fucking love this movie.
It's so good. Basic plot synopsis: we've got siblings, Justin, and Justin's his real name. Yeah. Crap prep.
Yeah, Dairy.
We've got Dari and Trish.
Dairy.
Traveling. Dairy.
Yeah.
It's Dari.
Dairy, she says. Damara.
It's Dari. It's Dari, boy. I've done my prep.
Okay.
Are you gonna leave me do this or?
Justin Long. Crack on.
Dari. Right. We've got siblings, Dari and Trish, traveling home for spring break from college along a deserted countryside. Unfortunately for them, they bump into something horrific and do something very stupid. We'll get into that in our opener.
Yeah, so backtracking with that van. So the big truck is chasing them, first of all. It's very much like Duel, Steven Spielberg's Duel. And it's not just how ugly the truck is now and how suspiciously fast it is, because it's way too fast. It's obviously
he hasn't got the mechanical skills to soup that up, is he?
No, but it's the horrible foghorn of the horn. It's so well directed, so horrifying. Like, that's what made, I think, Duel so good, is that it was the truck itself was scary. So obviously the movie's very influenced by that, and that's what makes this opener so great. And then you've got this madman driving it. They think they've seen him throw a body down a pipe that leads into a church, and that's where the bad decision comes in.
And I gotta say as well, it is one of the best openers ever. And it a lot of it, without the creeper, a lot of it comes down to Justin Long and Gina Phillips, the chemistry them two have. You really believe that they're siblings. They've got like inside jokes and games that they're playing that they've made rules up for.
Yeah.
They don't explain to us what the rules are because it's their game. We're just watching them. And they've got this great chemistry. I feel like these two are the heart of the movie, and they must have spent like months together before this movie, because you can really feel that they're brother and sister. You can feel that they've got history. They're constantly shitting on each other, but with love. A little bit like us two, Jenks, you know?
Yeah.
Constantly giving each other shit.
Well, without the love.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
point.
I think
Just
a brother,
history.
I think a brother and his sister dynamic is genius, really, because you've got sort of like you've got the final girl potentially and the final boy or whatever. Well, I was going to say, I'm going to spoil this, 25 years old. But it's the final girl dynamic without it being a love story, but it's a sibling love story. She can't let go of her brother. He can't let go of her sister.
Yeah.
And I think that, and he's a little bit immature. He's a little bit too sort of courageous when he goes to the church.
As well.
Naive, and she's the brains behind it, really, without it being like a girl boss film. She's a bit older than he is.
Well, what it is so they're driving past this church and they've seen this mysterious figure throwing bodies down this pipe.
Yeah.
Now, it's the same person who ran them off the road, so they're already suspicious of this person. And you've got that great shot where they're driving past and he turns quick and sees them.
With his long trench coat, is so cool.
And then, after they've been smashed off the road, Dari decides that let's go back and have a look what's down that pipe. Bear in mind, they are shitting bricks. They've just been rammed off the road. This person is definitely dangerous. It's a terrifying location. And they go, do you know what? Let's go back and investigate. This is my only big problem with the movie. Although it makes for a good, creepy scene, I do wish they came up with a better excuse for them to go back and check down the pipe. And this is when it gets frustrating, Jenks, is because he's down the pipe, but she's holding his feet. And then there's loads of rats in there that run up at him. And then he starts shaking his legs. So she obviously lets go and he falls down. And then he blames it on her. So he's giving her shit, saying, oh, real nice. Look where I've ended up now because of you. And he literally spent a minute frailing his arms and legs while she was holding him, while there's rats running out at her.
And also, I think you're right. It's a very loose reason to go down. They think he claims that what if they're still alive and then is it the nearest police station's miles away or something like that? By the
Yeah.
time they get back there, it's nonsense. Nobody would go down a pipe that scary and that deep. No chance.
I genuinely believe there isn't one person on this earth that would go back and look down that pipe. Now, the only way I could see someone going down there was if they were curious, they hadn't seen a creepy guy throwing bodies down there, and it looked completely deserted, right? There's no one around, they haven't seen anyone hanging about. I would be curious as to what's down that pipe.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't go down there, but I would be curious.
But if you look past all that, the setting, that pipe, the setting, the old church, and when he gets down to the basement of the church or whatever it is, there's all these bodies that have been preserved somehow onto the ceiling. It's like the Sistine Chapel or whatever it's
Sistine
called.
Chapel,
Yeah.
yes. I was just about to say,
I couldn't get it out. Yeah.
When he reports, he says something like it's the fucked up 16th chapel.
Yeah, and it's so terrifying, and they're all somehow preserved. He's put them in something because some of them are like decades old. Because it's like there's a rumor of a couple that went missing, and it's like a kind of an urban legend.
They never found her head.
Yes, and it's been stitched back, is it? I can't remember now.
Well, maybe on a different body.
Yeah,
so that he's got her head, and yeah.
From that point, then they flee. And then they try to phone the police, and he's fucked up from seeing it. She kind of can't get the sense out of him because he's so traumatized. And then they head back to the cafe then, if I'm not mistaken, is it?
Yes, to the diner, yeah.
And that's where they meet the psychic woman, which I don't really like that much. She's basically for exposition.
She's an exposition dump. How can we explain to these people what he is, what happens, how he comes, and what he does with his bodies? Because he's not going to explain. Can you imagine the creeper giving an exposition dump?
Yeah.
He's standing there and he's like, every 23 springs and 23 years I come back and feed. And I need eyes and... Yeah, it just wouldn't work.
I know. Yeah, you're right.
She's she's there for a reason, right? And it's perfect, really, because they're definitely thinking in the studio, like, how can we do an exposition dump? Let's get a psychic in.
I think, the only other way they could have done it was him to investigate and find other cases, and I think that would just take too long.
It's been done too much.
It'd be too long. He'd have to visit an asylum where an old inmate, I haven't been, or someone from jail, and it's always the same.
He doesn't have any eyes.
Yeah, I haven't had a guest for years. This is the first guest I've had for years. 23 years, actually. Bang on. But the creeper then, at the time, you just think it's a man. You have no clue that it's a monster because he's got like kind of grey wispy hair and a trench coat. You don't see his monstrous face. Spoiler alert, he's a monster. And he sniffs Dairy's underpants. And he's got his scent then, isn't it? Right, which is convenient because she makes a reference, the sister Gina, that he's got his bag of dirty washing to give to the mother, and he's still doing that because he's in college, which is good because that's what sons do, isn't it? They're lazy.
Oh,
and it's worked perfectly.
I've done it so many times.
But that, and then you, because he sniffed it, you start having a sense then that, is this just a normal guy, or is this some weird guy that loves pants?
Like is he just a pervert?
Yeah, a dirty pervert.
Yeah, of course. And this it's weird, right? When I first watched it years back, and if we're talking about the creeper himself, once I found out that he was a monster, and it turned a little bit actiony, when he's jumping and doing front flips over the car and doing crazy stunts. When I was younger, that kind of put me off the film because I was so scared. And I was really young when this came out. It came out in 2001. And I remember watching it for the first time back then. I was born in 93, so I was young. I was watching it. And that first half, I was terrified. And then once he reveals himself, that tension's gone then because he's this big bad monster. And because I was into Friday the 13th and all those movies, I was like, oh, it's just a monster movie. And then I wasn't scared anymore. But watching that as an adult now, where not many things scare me, so it doesn't matter. That second half, right, when he reveals himself, makes for some of the best scenes in any horror movies. And specifically, if we're talking about scenes, Jenks, It's when the police are escorting them back to
Yeah,
the
it's
church,
amazing.
and it cuts from the police car where you hear a bang on their roof, and then it cuts to Trish and Darry's car, and then you can see out their back window, and you just see a figure standing on top of the cop
Yeah.
car lingering. It is one of the greatest shots ever.
Yeah, because they're arguing, and it drowns out any noise from the of the car.
Yes.
What I love about that scene, putting aside all the action, when when the head hits the car and the cop's head hits the car, and when they slam on the brakes and the police car is stationary, and you see that the creeper's sitting in the car.
Yeah.
What's great about that is that it looks like it's set up to be like you think he's there, then when they look, he's gone. And it's like, no, he's there throughout the shot. He doesn't move an
Yes.
inch.
Spot on.
And that makes it so disturbing. It's like, yeah, he's there. He's not moving. He's not.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
one of those horrors where it's bullshit. He's just disappeared. And I absolutely love the look. I love the trench
Yeah.
coat. Jonathan Breck, the guy who plays the creeper, is so brilliant in that role. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
he also plays one of the cops in the police station as well.
Right? Okay, I didn't know that.
So there's a standoff scene where they're all standing there with their guns, and they go out of their way to show him, and he's there like with a gun.
Yeah, because he's kind of a good-looking guy. He looks a bit like Billy
Yeah.
Zane type guy, isn't he? With a
Yeah,
skinhead.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
I love the bit as well, which basically set up the second one accidentally because the old lady goes, "That ain't my scarecrow." The director, the writer must have thought, "Oh my god, I'm using that idea. That's so cool." As him,
Yeah.
he's so decrepit looking and so rough. He could be disguised. He could be passed as a
Oh
scarecrow.
god, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we've got basically then the finale. Then we've got the police station where you think it's all done. They've run over the creeper about 10 times.
Yeah, that's right.
He's
And
crushed to a pulp.
you see him
Yes.
regenerate. Then that's where you realise that some of the law is coming in.
Yeah, exactly. So he's had his leg off. His wings have come out. They're damaged. His body's all ripped to shreds. And then you think it's all over. They go to the police station. They phone their mother, just to say what's going on. And then it's supposed to be the end. Then obviously we know it's not.
Yeah.
And then you see the creeper then wobble into the police station, and then and this is what's great. This could have been its own movie, right? I would love to have seen the whole movie as a siege film, like Assault on Precinct 13, right? A siege movie inside a police station, because we've got about 20 minutes here in the police station where the creeper is feeding on people to get his parts back. So you see a guy on the floor, his leg's missing. The creeper was missing a leg. And like you said, Jenks, it starts to show what he needs to do to regenerate. So whatever body part he's missing, he eats it, and then he gains that body part.
It's very Terminator though, at the end, isn't it? Terminator 1.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I get you.
They're fighting. He's got dairy. He's kind of had a connection to dairy because of the smell, and he wants to feed on dairy.
Sorry, Darry.
Dairy, okay. You watched it last night.
I watched it this morning.
And he calls him Dari all the way through. I'm sure it's dairy.
No. Google it. It says Darry.
Right.
Darry.
Anyway, and he flies off with her, and he's got a brilliant, like, predator style jowls that open up, which is such a good. I don't know what the budget was in this film, but it's so good. And he flies off. Now, at the time, I thought, well, this can't be the end. There's no fucking way this is the end. She's gonna have to rescue him, and this is where I had the problem with it. Even though it's a good sort of ending, it's very like tragic. It's a very bleak ending. There's a mention early on that when they mention about the church, the cops go there and they find that it's off camera. This is they hear on the radio that it's been burnt. The creeper's got rid of all the evidence, and that's where I think it went wrong. That church should have been the finale. She should have had to go back to that church down the pipe to look for her brother. That should have been the setting, but knowing full well what's down there, but she has to go. She's got no choice as her brother, rather than just kind of ending.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. If we slim back some of the second half to spend more time with her going back down the pipe, I think it would have reverted back to how scary the movie was at the start.
Yeah.
Before they knew who the creeper was, when he first goes down the pipe. I think it would have really worked well. I agree with you. As much as I love the police station and how big and extra it is,
Yeah.
I would have that's a good shout.
And
Her going back there.
it probably could have been cheaper as well. But I suppose it would have made sense even if you still had that on, because all the police are wiped out. So she's got no backup. She's got to go on her own. It's not like, oh, why was she go on her own? It's like, no, they're all dead. She has to act quick. Now, I love the scene with his eyes and the music playing Jeepers Creepers. Luckily, he's into that song, not like Gangnam Style or something, because the name of the film and the monster not being called Creeper.
IP is flawless. I think he's a great monster. The first two films are phenomenal. Great monster movies. But yeah, I think maybe Jenks down the line, someone will come along and want to revisit this one and give it a big budget remake. I would take it any day because I feel like it's a franchise that deserves more love.
And also, there was rumours when they were talking about number 3. There was rumours they were going to set it in a western, set like 100 years in the past. I'd watch that. It could be like Predator, just going back. Anyway, have you seen Jeepers Creepers? If you haven't, you're bonkers. The second one is awesome as well. It's a very underrated sequel. Drop a comment. Tell us what you think of this film. If you love horror, if you love ranking, please subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.